Hello hero, it's me, Lucy Lannon. There's a bit of a drowsy feeling to this one. I don't know whether some of you are watching this when you're a bit sleepy, or I don't know, there's just like a heaviness. You see the way that I've laid out this table? I've sort of changed setup today because I've been doing one of my larger readings and it takes up far more of this area. So this has kind of been recently repositioned. Something I didn't notice that's leaping out to me now is that although it's daylight, we've got a lot of shadows, so it's always feeling like a night reading, even though it's bright sun outside. And also the way that these horns are set up, which, like some of you will know, I always have these now. Because of the shadow from over here, this one's sort of drooping, right? Sort of bringing itself down to here, unravelling almost. It's like, you know? And they're not actually different sizes, so I feel like there's a weird ratio thing going on here. And I think for some of you, because of the stones that have come out, you're watching this and you're feeling extremely depleted, maybe a bit unravelled, maybe burnt out, or maybe just sort of a bit twilighty, a bit tired. There's something heavy going on here that wasn't here the rest of my day, because I'm filming this at about, 4 o'clock. And I've had a lovely work day, and it's nothing to do with that. So I hope you feel better, is what I want to say first, before we do anything. I do hope that this helps. In terms of crystals for everybody today, they all wanted to be rose quartz, except for this quartz here for amplification purposes. So again, if you want to put any kind of energy or draw any loving feeling from those, these are the self-care stone, they're the mother stone, they're the feeling like there's a lack of love in your life and needing to substitute it with working with that particular mineral, right? And you don't have to believe in crystals to do that. You can just look at them and go, oh, that's nice, and maybe hear the message as a thought experiment of, oh, have I felt a bit unloved today, or have I felt a bit depleted, or whatever. Like I say, I read for all sorts, so you do you. But yeah, a lot of rose quartz. If you do have access to rose quartz stones, you might want to pause this, get your own, and just sit with it for a minute while I go through the rest of this reading, because I really feel it's needed. There's also the pearly guys wanted to join in, which means my ancestors are kicking in, but also it's a nod to yours. So for those of you who are doing lineage work, ancestor work, forgiving things in the ancestral line, for those of us, I mean, you can see the colour of my skin, and that does imply that in my ancestral line there's a whole deal of things to forgive, right? If any of you are working through any of that family stuff or any of that bloodline stuff, or just coming to terms with anything familial that's been really damaging for you, trust me, you have help, okay? Even my hand's turning like a funny rosy colour that it doesn't normally turn. The light is so strange today, guys. I don't know whether that's just, in this neck of the woods, or whether it's a bigger thing. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point is, right, you're here because we're dealing with the letter C. So I will pick a word for each pile out of the esoteric tombola. Excuse me, I'm going to sit down. The psychic lucky dip, if you like. And we'll sort of, we'll get a reading, discombobulation. We'll get a reading for each of the random words that we pick. We won't know what they are in advance, so you don't know the kind of reading you get in. I don't know the kind of reading you get in. It's all very exciting. And if this is the first time you've joined me on this, just know that as well as picking your pile through, the standard way that you do, which I imagine some of you are already doing, you can also listen to the general messages that are cardless for each pile before we even know what your word is. And if anything leaps out to you there, that can be your confirmation that you're in the right spot. If nothing does on any of the piles, that's great, and thank you for coming along anyway. But it might be that one of the other alphabetized videos, or indeed one of the other videos on my channel, is more for you at this time. That said, if anything that I've said about being tired, discombobulated, a little bit unravelled, a little bit burnt out is resonating for you, this may be your place to be. Right. Something else that I've just remembered, I will continue with this so that you can see it's all live, but I got this pen out when I saw all your rose quartzes. Don't know if you can see the colour of that. It's looking, excuse me, it's looking more of a Barbie pink in this camera because this camera is not the greatest, gang. If you want to donate to me, links down below and I'll get a better one. But yeah, it's sort of, the reality of this colour is less I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world and more of a kind of orangey pink neon. Now I got this out when I saw all of this, gang, because I felt that that orangey pink neon-y kind of light was something that you might want to work with. Speaking of light, I'm just going to tilt you up slightly so you can see the colours running through my little oil burner there, because I feel like, I don't know, just colour therapy. The colour therapy is strong with this group. Some of you may have even had colour readings from me recently or something, but yeah, so those of you who are new to visualisation, I want you to imagine that there's a, not entirely this colour, but more sort of what's in the middle there, of like a corally neon that you're breathing up through the ground and into your heart centre, and then alternately breathing down from the sky and from the heavens and from wherever you believe connects us all and into the heart centre. And I want you to really absorb that, possibly as you work with rose quartz. So that's the reason I had a pen on my table. Let's get back to actually shuffling your piles. I'm really doing this out of order. It is not like me to be this all over the place, especially on a day like today where I've had multiple readings and I'm really on it. So that may again be a reflection of how you're feeling, but we'll see as we get into things. Right, I'm going to speed this up and have a little whistle just so that you don't have to sit here all day. Please do wait until all the piles are shuffled before you pick one, and then like I say, you can go to the general messages before your particular reading as well, just to see that it's right for you. Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. See you in a sec. Hello, pile 1. Just giving another quick shuffle. Let's get your channels right. Okay, I get visual disturbances anyway because of some brain blitz things I've had happen over the years because I'm a disabled practitioner. However, I'm getting massive visual disturbance right now. So some of you will have had migraine, which is, you know, what that looks like, I guess. Some of you will be on Team Stroke. Hi, me too. Nice to see you. Hope you're okay. Some of you will just have really, really low blood sugar right now, and you kind of know it. Maybe you've been doing too much and you know that you have and you need to eat a little bit. This is your cue to go get a snack. And for those of you who don't want to get a snack because you want to keep it at a low calorie level, this is me saying, naughty, naughty, go get a snack before you pass out, alright? Because if I'm getting visual stuff, you are at the point of not eating where it's really not good, alright? That's not for everybody, but there's someone watching who is like, yay, I'm getting trippy vision, and I've been down that road and it's not a good attitude to have, okay? Let's go get a sandwich. For others of you, it's as simple as you're really dehydrated, get a glass of water because you've been drinking coffee or Coke all day or something. And that's affecting your vision. But if you are getting visual disturbance, this is the power for you. Sort yourself out and come back to it, alright? I'm here all week. Okay. What else? So, the shape of this visual thing, it's interesting. I'm switching hands because when I get physical stuff, it goes a bit crazy. Oh, wow, pile 2's on the floor. Okay. That's fine, we'll pick her up. If you thought about picking pile 2 as well, this is your thing to say. Yeah, do that, because it'll be interesting. There'll be a whole other message about that being on the floor, but I don't want that right now. Sorry, I'm telling Spirit, not you. Switching hands. There's something in me switching hands. Money's changing hands. There's somebody that owes you money or is late on a payment if you're invoicing somebody, or somebody knows that they need to pay you back for something like that. It's going to happen, but money is changing hands for them first. So there's somebody that they need to fuck around money-wise with, and then they can come to you. For some of you, this will be in a professional setting, and it's as simple as your customer hasn't paid you yet or whatever. And for others, it's much more of a like, you lent someone several grand, and you are getting it back, but it won't be in bulk, and it won't be as soon as you'd hoped, because this other person is dealing with their sources of money being corrupted by money changing hands, if that makes sense. Hope it does. Pipes. Some of you are watching with pipes that are going to freeze. Be very careful. Make sure... God, I mean, I'm filming this like pre/mid energy crisis, but pre when it really ramps up, in my opinion. So for those of you who are watching maybe in the UK, like, make sure that the heat is just high enough so that your pipes don't freeze, because it's a real concern. You don't want to deal with stuff like that in your house, trust me. And if that doesn't apply, there's still something about pipes, even if you're in like a really warm part of the world, or I don't know, there's something. I'm seeing rust as well, so just like check your pipes. And I don't mean in a medical sense, and I don't mean for you singers. I mean quite literally, check your pipes. I've said this before to someone that I read for regularly, but pipes also are about emotional overwhelm. Where we have water running through a channel, if that water kind of bursts out of its chamber, that can be about a person or a household feeling an emotional overabundance that they're not currently addressing or dealing with. So some of you need to know that and, you know, sort yourselves out accordingly. It can be as simple as asking for help sometimes, as well as taking practical measures to you know, clear the pipes problem up. You're going to need to address it symbolically, holistically, by looking at why the pipes burst, looking at why the dam burst, looking at what it is that is being an overwhelmed source, if that makes sense. So if you can hear knocking, I have interesting neighbours. Some of you are having knocking in the house, and it's... Don't panic. It's nothing bad. It's not an animal. For those of you who are a bit tuned in, and I suspect if you're on this channel you're at least interested, this is somebody saying hi, in a nice way. But whatever scratchings or knockings or whatever you're hearing in the walls, it's not mice, it's something else. And it's friendlier than that, if that makes sense. Because sometimes mice in the walls can be a real... I mean, obviously it's difficult in terms of if you've got food in the house and stuff like that, but aside from any concerns in terms of pest control, that can be a really... a big wake-up call to shift something before it gets out of hand. And I actually had that wake-up call myself during a Saturn return, because I was dealing with some extremely shifty stuff and I wasn't aware that it was shifty at that stage. So for some of you who already know that it is mice, I needed to say that, but for most of you it's not mice, it's not an animal, it's something or someone saying hello, or it's like a lesser problem. And if you're hearing knocking and you maybe resonated with the pipes message, it could be that that's why your pipes are knocking. You've got boiler issues or other plumbing issues. I'm not a plumber, so I wouldn't know what to call it. Comment down below if you're a plumber. Maybe there's someone watching near you that'll want your business. Right, shifting hands again, because that got a bit much. Alright, what else, gang? Jewellery makers, some of you. Very nice stuff, from what I can tell. There's a thing about putting regular stones in something. Right, from a crystal perspective, by the way, there's no such thing as a regular stone. Even granite, even sandstone, even limestone, things we regularly build stuff out of, at least in my neck of the woods, all have properties, right? But the point is that even if you're thinking of adding quote-unquote regular stones, pebbles if you like, to your jewellery, it's still going to look magnificent with whatever else you've got. And there is a need to know that a regular stone is not just a regular stone. In fact, for some of my crystal workers and healers, you've recently found or picked up a stone that is just a found object. And you need to look into what it represents anyway, because, you know, it's not just gemstones that can be used for healing, gang. Everything everywhere has connection to everything else, and therefore carries different properties and correspondences. It's part of why what I do is so heavily synesthetic. So that's for some of you. And some of you don't even have the rock problem. It's just that you needed to hear about that interconnectedness and how everything has meaning. Because you're learning augury, you're learning the interpretation of things which are not classically interpretative. So it doesn't have to be tarot and things. It can be the position of something in the sky, or how your meal fell on the plate, or anything that opens up this symbolic associative network, which does indeed tap you into messages. Something that I tell people if they're kind of new to me is that, like, I don't ask who wrote the telegram or how, and I'm really, you know, beyond the religious sense, not even concerned with that. I just read the telegram for other people, and it doesn't matter if it's even in my language, you know what I mean? So some of you are entering into that kind of thinking. You're busting through the paradigm of your only divinatory sources being things like tarot and crystal scrying and bone throwing and all the rest of this good stuff, and into like, no, everything is up for interpretation because you are tuned in all the time. And if you are doing that, by the way, that's a magnificent skill and good on you. Like, I think a lot of people never get to the stage where they can just click into a certain brainwave state and receive messages whether or not they're in the context of something spooky looking, you know what I mean? My throat's cracking, so that's the end of that one. Cracking. Okay, for those of you who are practitioners or are exploring that as well, you might want to look into energy testing with eggs. I couldn't tell you the traditions. I believe Santeria involves egg reading people's energies, but that could be something I've like accumulated and appropriated from Hollywood and is just complete bollocks, so don't take my word for it. But I think a lot of different traditions around the world have used, you know, running an egg across a person and then reading the egg as a form of divination and augury and maybe even healing. I'm not the person to instruct you on that, very clearly. I'm just passing on the telegram that egg stuff may be involved. Obviously not if you're vegan, but you do you. There's something about being a good egg as well. Some of you are feeling that lack of love that I mentioned at the start, and if you believe in spirit teams, your spirit team's proud of you. But whatever you believe in, whatever you think that I'm translating from, even if it's my own unconscious, there is something here saying you're a good egg, alright? You've done well with this, whatever you're grappling with. So don't worry too much, okay? There's a lot of worry and anxiety, and you needn't, because you know more than you give yourself credit for. And you've gone through more than you perhaps acknowledge. It may even be useful to write down in a diary or a journal or something the amount of stuff that you've sort of passed through of late and successfully, just to sort of boost this idea in your own mind that no, I can deal with a huge amount of things, and I am capable, and I am beautiful, and I am, you know, all these other things that you sort of wish other people would tell you you are. Because you are. That's the message I'm being asked to pass on. Anyway, never mind all that. Let's get to your tarot. Okay, pile 1. Yes, I'm picking the tarot before I pick the keyword. Things work in a strange order in terms of the timey-wimey on this channel, so that's absolutely magnificent and fine. The reading should still work, my dude. Oh, hello. We got a sneaky underneath. We'll leave those there in case we need any clarifiers, because yes, this Alright, this one's showing off for me, this top one, that I've turned a different way. Because last time, if you remember, these are supposed to be 5-card minis and we got 6 cards. And they weren't very fucking mini at all, were they? I do apologise. Right, I can't see this because I'm way over here. This one's pinging out. Oh, congratulations! Sorry, that was incredibly squeaky. C is for congratulations. Your cards are the Two of Cups. Hello. The Knight of Cups. Hello indeed. The Tower. Or the equivalent, sorry, in this deck. The Five of Wands. And a Two of Pentacles. Alright. Okay. Give me a sec just to let this absorb. You won't even feel the cup. Right, gang, you're in a love reading. If you didn't get it from the Two of Cups and the Knight of Cups, then you're either very new to tarot or or you just didn't want to get it, which I do feel from some of you that you maybe don't want to just be told congratulations, love is coming in, but that is exactly what I'm getting. Because of the broadness of the audience that I'm reading for, this could be a new love for many of you. That is the vibe I'm getting. But for some of you, this is just a deepening of an existing connection that is very much intensified in recent weeks. And I say intensified in the past tense because of the positioning of this card. I feel like this has already started to come in. It's not new to you completely. The process is underway. Let's have a look what this clarifier guy was. Oh, the world. Oh, okay, that's bloody lovely. Right, congratulations. To someone, you are the entire world, right? The overarching theme of this is one of connection, collaboration, friendship, trust in each other, perhaps for the first time. If you've had difficulty trusting in the past, which I see from these things over here, cards. Yeah, if you've had trouble trusting, this is to say that this is going to be different, genuinely. And I'm not saying that to make money. I'm not somebody who very often does straightforward love readings, because things be more complex than that. You know, life do be like that. A lot of stuff is... if you're seeing a tarot reader, generally speaking, it's not because you're in a straightforward setup, am I right? But in this case, it is that something straightforwardly wonderful is coming your way, or indeed has started to come your way. Now, what that has brought about in you, and the reason that we have this guy in the middle, is panic. You're not ready for it. The universe is trying to congratulate you, and meanwhile you're here low-key freaking out, looking in the opposite direction from the love coming in and sort of going, la la la, I'm not listening, I can't deal with this right now, I've got too much shit on. Potentially work shit. Man, this may even be my pile, because this is all super resonating for me right now. But I feel you've been extremely busy with stuff. Sorry, I'm holding big chunky, I think. Extra message: if you quite often take readings for the person that has come in, if you've got a long-standing connection, or if you've asked about them before, you might have an association with this person with amethyst, because this is big chunky. Some of you will have seen him before, but he's the guardian that sort of marks where my cards begin on this big table, but he also helps me out, and I'm really feeling that Big Chunky and this person, any gender, are very much connected. So that's a confirmation for some of you of who this is. Anyway, they may even be Big Chunky. Actually, in my first ever video on this channel, Big Chunky had a little bio. I believe he was into the Melvins and good bikes, but I couldn't tell you what else the bio said. Anyway, check that out if it resonates with you. This person may be into chunky riffs, or they may be a bit of a chunk. All are welcome here. I'm kind of partial to that myself. Anyway, I'm going off on one with this. There is definitely a sense of joy, but there's also like a really scatterbrained feeling with all of this stuff. Yes, you feel the need for love, but love is coming in. But it's coming in such a chaotic way. It's like, I can't even get ahead of my own brain to relay the message for you. So, Two of Cups connection. We've had somebody come in recently. They've made some kind of offer to you in the way of talking a little bit more explicitly about feelings, or just saying some nicer stuff than you used to, or whatever. That's all grand. And certainly if there's been any kind of communication that's a little ambiguous, but maybe a bit more than they usually give to you, I would take that as an offer of love. I would take that as the beginnings of something really rather beautiful. But the position that you're in, like I say, is to go, la la, I'm not listening, to distract me even within your own reading, so that I don't relay that this is a bit much for you right now, that there is a sense of conflict. I also feel there may be small-scale conflict within your close circle, your friendship group, perhaps mutuals with this person, or if they're in a professional setting or something, it might be that colleagues at work that this person also knows are in a bit of a feudy thing with you. It's very light, it's not going to come to much, gang, it's not a big thing to worry about at all. But I sense that because of this affiliation with other people and because of the sense that other people could influence the connection if they were directly in touch with this person in some way, even maybe if this person was to meet your family and you're in a bit of like, oh, how will that go? There's something holding you back in those terms, and that's in your kind of near future where this is going to give you a little bit more anxiety the more that you dwell on it. But the other than congratulations and well done and this is coming in whether you like it or not, my dude, the theme here is you don't need to be worried about that thing. You probably will be in the days sort of following you seeing this. You'll be a bit anxious about it. You'll maybe overthink things a little bit. But this person is looking through these circumstances and the way that they're riding. And knights are very swift. They are very chivalrous and romantic, classically, but they're also quite quick and they will cut through the shit in a very swordsy kind of a way. So I think really it's going to amount to all of you saying, gee, I'm a little bit nervous about such and such, nervous laughter, to this person. And then just laughing it off and saying, are you worried about a little thing like that? You know, in a very, very romantic, borderline K-drama kind of a way, where they just tuck your hair behind your ear and giggle about it, and then you guys run off into the sunset together. It's really very beautiful. I can't tell you how long term this is going to be. Maybe you want to look at other readings for stuff like that. You don't have to pay me to do that. There's other stuff on this channel. But what I can tell you is that it's very certainly coming in. This person is extremely sure about you, whether or not you're sure about them. I feel you are, actually. I feel you want them. I feel you've been waiting for this maybe for a little while, but it's just that the timing of it is absolute bollocks, and you really wish that you could sort everything else out this week that's on top of you. Namely, as I said, work or money kind of stuff, maybe stuff with the body for those for whom the professional stuff doesn't apply. You know, sort of getting to a place where you feel good about yourself physically, that kind of thing. And also just getting over this hurdle, whether it's like a little spat in your friendship group or with your workmates, or you're just nervous about how your family would react to this person. Whatever it is, it's not going to be as big as you think it is, and that's the message. The message overall, still, congratulations. I'm saying it multiple times because I don't think you're hearing me. I think you're saying, but Lucy, what about this bit? And I'm saying, they think the fucking world of you. You have no idea of the extent to which that's true yet, and you're about to find out. So just fucking enjoy it, right? Regarding balancing this with other aspects of your life, it is something you're going to be able to juggle. It is something you will be able to manage. You may need to do that in a very grounded, down-to-earth way. For those of you who are like me and are planner addicts and all the rest of it, you might need to quite literally schedule this person in because of the other stuff that you've got rolling right now. And that may be why you feel that it's an extremely inconvenient time for them to just show up and, you know, suddenly step up in every sense, right? It may be that it's like, oh, now? Really? Particularly those of you who work online, because of the world card, there may be a lot that you're sort of loading yourself with that prevents this from really having the momentum that you feel as well that it deserves. But what I would say about that is that if you start slow and you make sure that your own schedule is taken care of, this person is keen enough on you that they will be patient with that, and there will be an acceleration of momentum as soon as the next kind of set of obstacles or set of projects is at least semi-taken care of. So it's going to get faster, even if like they're speeding in and you're slowing them down going, whoa, 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 I can't do this right now. I can't move this fast at the moment. They're going to say, okay, cool. They seem very reasonable, actually. There's a very there's a very earth stellium kind of energy about them, where they're just like, okay, I take that in, I accept it, great stuff, tell me what's next. You know, and that's really refreshing, actually, in this day and age, because without ranting too much, there's definitely a tendency in our modern culture to be a little bit overstimulated and therefore over-entitled, where other people's relationship to you comes in. But this person isn't going to be too demanding on your time and energy. They know that the things that you have prioritised at the moment are genuinely important things, and they're mature enough to step back and say, okay, well, whenever you're ready to hang out, we can hang out, or, you know, to whatever extent you want to take this further, we can do that. I'll work at your pace, because low-key, they really feel a lot for you. They do. For some of you, I would say this is love, but use your discretion and think about, you know, your age and your stage of life and stuff before you throw the L word in. I'm just including it for those for whom that may have been a suggestion, but you weren't quite sure. They absolutely do. Okay? So congratulations, Group 1! Excellent news! If you'd like a private, more in-depth, more specific reading with me, the Etsy link is down below. If you just found this one kind of nice and you want to chuck me 50p or a quid, there's also a PayPal donation link. And if none of that applies and you're short on money or you just don't want to do any of that, then please do like, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. Share with anybody else who you think would benefit from the esoteric tombola, bearing in mind that they possibly won't pick the same pile as you, so it's a fun little exercise for anybody. Also, I should say, on the tombola format, if you want from the letter E onwards to apply any of your own words into these, you know, I nearly said sorting hats, some of you are Harry Potter people, these hat picks of whatever word that we're going to read upon. If you want to suggest stuff for that, absolutely comment it down below. If you see a heart by your comment, it's already in the bag. If you don't, it's just that I'm processing it, or we've gone past that letter or whatever. And I will take anything except names and proper nouns for reasons discussed in previous alphabetised readings. Alright, so take care, Pile 1. Enjoy it. Stop blocking your own deliciousness, alright? You can do this. You have the body, you have the money, you have the career. You have, you know, you may need to work on your self-concept a little bit, but you are actually ready for this if you can fit it in, okay? Pile 2. Sorry if those were extremely loud noises. I really can't tell from where I'm sat. Alright, first thing to say about your pile as part of the channel message stuff is that you'll know if you watch Pile 1, during Pile 1's channel, your cards fell off my sofa into the floor and scattered everywhere. So there is a scattered feeling, as there was with Pile 1. As I said, with Pile 1, if you felt drawn to both piles, it might be good to watch both, because I think both things will apply. Really getting the hiccups today, that's a good sign with channeling. So yeah, it was scattered all over the floor, but I managed to rescue them all. That may mean also, I feel like you're a pile who are scared of reversals in tarot. I say that because when I pick something up off the floor and then read with it, quite often there are reversals in it that I didn't expect. Now, I don't take reversals very often with Marseille. I believe that, particularly with this Viéville, it's a very complete deck kind of unto itself, and I don't need to turn the 78 meanings into double that. However, I want you to know, for this channel and any other tarot channels that you might be observing, that reversals are not a bad thing. They do, like I just said, literally double the meanings. It doesn't mean that something's necessarily blocked. It doesn't mean that something's bad. So if you've had a reading recently where you've had reversals and it spooked you, this is your confirmation that you're in the right place, but it's also to say, don't let it. Reversals aren't a bad thing. In fact, there are some cards in tarot that I can think of where reversals are actually a better outcome than the card in the upright. It really just depends, you know, whether you know your stuff and what it is that you're after. So, equally for those of you who've been experimenting on your own, if you've had a lot of reversals lately, that's great. That's your spirit team or whatever it is that you believe in, saying that you are ready to take on another 78 set of meanings in terms of what those particular cards are signifying. it doesn't mean that like everything's going to go to shit and it's all in crisis, all right? So that's a message for somebody. But if none of that resonates at all, this may be my scatterbrain pile. It may be the pile who are dropping things, feeling a bit clumsy. And because of the crystals and the message at the beginning, I would say really take time to just have a minute out, all right? Sit the fuck down before you hurt yourself. There's a real feeling of like, put everything down, take a deep breath, and then start again, because you will benefit from that little break. I mean, burnout was in pile 1 and it was in the generals for everybody. But specifically with you guys, I'm feeling that it may be that you've been pulling all-nighters and stuff like that. There's actually another recent reading where there was a pile like that, so you may have even got that. I can't remember where it was. But yeah, just take a minute, all right? Just plonk yourself down, watch a bit of some trash on telly or read a decent book or whatever, and take a little bit of time out. You will be better in your productivity for having done so. It's not going to damage the outcome. But there's certainly like a stop for a second, all right? I'm hearing stop, collaborate and listen. So if you're as old as me or older, that may be for you. Anyway. Also, I'm noticing that this quartz ball, just a sec, I'm sat way over here, if you didn't already know. I'm just picking some candle wax off it, which I didn't know was on there. So for some of you who've got candles on, just check that the wax isn't overflowing, heads up. But also it may be specifically about getting a crystal in a ball format, if you've been crystal shopping, or something to do with it being rounded. I'm also thinking, again with the labyrinth references for this alphabetized thing we're doing, it's just because of the Jim Henson thing of saying what letter I'm doing every week, I think. But I am getting that image of David Bowie in Labyrinth, playing with the ball, running it over his hand. I wish I could do it. I would if I could. So I don't know what that is. Maybe you've got some circus skills, whatever, but confirmation there anyway. Right, let's take something else that isn't to do with that. I'm just going to shift over this way. Apologies if you hear my squeaky chair. I'm not farting, I promise you. Okay, what have we got? I'm hearing it's raining, it's pouring, like monsoon level of pouring. So some of you are somewhere really rainy right now. Make sure all your windows are closed. Again, with the nods to pile 1, because there's some stuff there about pipes bursting and overflow of water, and I explain with pile 1 what that means in symbolic terms. Some of you are working with rain as well in quite a lovely way. You're praying in rain, or you're doing something with a rain deity, or rain dancing, or something like, I don't know. But it's nice anyway. There's also some of you for whom that doesn't resonate, but you have a song that you listen to and you think about a person and being in the rain with that person. And there's a really lovely feeling, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's romantic. You're in the right spot if that's the case. That's really beautiful. There's also a thing of somebody shouting through rain and not being heard because of the kind of natural diffusion that happens with raindrops. So this could be literal for some of you. It could be a memory. But for others, there's something about expressing yourself in a way where everything around you is kind of too loud to be heard. And I'm hearing that the best way to tackle that counterintuitively is to stop shouting and just kind of wait until it's less quote-unquote rainy. Or at least until you feel better. It's kind of an echo of the initial message about just sitting tight on something. If you've been really hammering it with something overnight, you know, take a minute out. It's this similar thing of like, if you're shouting to be heard, just don't shout for a bit. Just don't express so much. You know, your listening person or audience or whatever will still be there when you've had a bit of a rest. And I think that's what you need to come back to them and have the sound resonate. Yeah. Some of you need to set an alarm. This is your reminder. And some of you, I'm seeing a storybook with a swan in it, like a kid's you know, like the old Ladybird books and stuff like that. They used to have all these really magical looking illustrations. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the Swan Princess. I can't remember the story, but if that title is grabbing you in any fashion, look up the folklore of the Swan Princess, the original story, because that'll hit. Or for some of you, you may have a swan totem. Again, I'll see if Jordana Van's spoken on that, because I absolutely love her animal stuff. But if she hasn't, swans represent all kinds of things to all kinds of people. There's obviously the strong connection with ballet, there's the mate for life thing, there's battle swans. I actually used to live on a canal where there were battle swans almost every day, where they used to, like, some of them would line up over here and some of them would line up like meters and meters over here, and then they'd charge at each other and they'd go wild in the middle. It was really weird. So that, I don't know, that hits for some of you. It's like Helm's Deep or something, but with, you know, quackers. Anyway, it's something about swans, guys. Sheer variety of messages. I'm seeing as well within the same illustration that I'm seeing, and I don't think this is a real illustration, by the way. I think it's just my brain generating stuff to pass on. But there's something about frost sparkling within the same image, and there's something about a frosty time of year. Some of you, really niche, have had your colours analysed. If you have, by the way, check out my colour readings, because I do sort of refer to colour analysis as well as holistic stuff. And you've discovered that you are a winter or an early spring season, and you've figured out that the sort of glittery component that some springs can have is that residual winterness. Or you're figuring that out because I'm saying it, right? This iridescence of spring is hitting for you. So if you want to use that and wear like iridescent or glittery fabrics a little bit more, and for those for whom that applies, you've got a really glorious complexion where it's quite sort of, I want to say like illuminated from within. It's quite shiny and it's quite not in a greasy way, right? But shiny in that luminous, get a glow way that all the cosmetics companies try and trick you into buying from a tin. You've got it right already. And I do feel like wearing sheer fabrics or sort of silky, satiny, reflective stuff would really bring that quality of you out. And note as well that it's something that can't really very easily be emulated by people who don't have it. So it's a real, if you have that sort of fairyish glow, play it up, man. Like whatever other colour characteristics or race or whatever you have, that sort of thing of being lit from within, that pearlescence, if you like, in a quality of skin is really unique. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things that a person can have, appearance-wise. Anyway, swans, glitter, spring, frost, spring analysis. Where are we going with this? Any further? No, that bit's done. All right. There's something about a tongue. Something sticking its tongue out, or some of you even buying tongue, like the meat tongue to put into something. Or using tongue in a magical way, like if you're doing something where you're trying to get somebody to hold their tongue, be careful, alright? Make sure that that's not going to backfire on you. And make sure that you know what you're doing. And more importantly, with anything vaguely malefic, why you're doing it. What is it in you that needs to sort this out in the way that you've chosen? It's only a really minor message for some of you. But tongue is, I don't know. Maybe somebody wants to do things with tongues. I'm not going into that. I don't want to get demonetised. But it's there, the message is there. Some of you have just started doing energy work, healing, or at least sort of feeling energy stuff and magnetism and stuff within your own body. Sorry about the big bang from the flat above, by the way. That's I'm taking that as confirmation. yeah, you started doing like, I don't want to say Reiki training because I don't feel like that's a natural cross-section with everybody who will be on this channel, but something like that where you're energetically healing and manipulating, and even if it's just the exercise where you're sort of pushing up against your own hands and feeling where your energy body ends, and then you're starting to do that with, you know, plants, animals, people around you as well. There's a definite... I'm getting the sensation in my hand that I get when I feel the end of where somebody quote-unquote ends, although none of us end anyway, you know what I mean? But that bit where you're at a kind of energy barrier and you get a different sensation that's coming through. So yeah, I encourage you with that. It's a great road to go down. For some of you it's a nod to energy management as well, like you have those skills but you've not been doing your self-healing. You've been projecting your intention outwards, or you've been concentrating on the accumulation of knowledge, and you need to rebalance your own energies as well. Or work with your energy body in like a psychic hygiene kind of a way. You need to clear out a bit, alright? Church. Some of you are thinking about going back to church. Any tradition. It's going to be a good thing, I'm being told. Yeah, there's a definite emphatic, yes, go and do that. And that's applicable even for my people who are not like directly Christian, but who have felt a calling to be in a church for some reason, even if it's like, should I have... I don't even know if you can do this if you're not Christian, but it's like, should I have a church wedding, or should we do this thing in a church? Should we hold this market or fete or whatever in a church? It's like, yes, go to church for it. Or some of you are like lapsed Catholics and things, and it's like, yeah, go back to church, it's good. All is well, and it would be a really positive move for you. For anybody for whom that applies, by the way, I can't speak for all of the content on their channel because I do hold slightly different beliefs on some issues, but the Bible in a Year series is really good as a refresher. I know I'm going to have some Satanists and things watching this going like, Bible in a Year? I thought this was a fucking tarot channel. But, you know, a lot of different traditions speak to the same kind of energies, put it that way. And I was raised in a couple of Catholic schools, so I know the ritual value of Mass and things, you know, quite well. And for those who do want to look into the Bible, even as a recipe book, actually, because it's full of herbal wisdom and stuff. But if you're being called to do stuff like that, Bible in a Year is a good place. No affiliation, obviously. Oh man, it'd be their worst nightmare to know that I was recommending them from this channel. But anyway, yeah. But go back to church, or go to the church, or even if some of you are like, I want to say a prayer for someone, but I don't know how to pray, or I don't know what to do, light a candle in church that's near you. I'm getting that as a thing. And that will sort of start you off in sort of where to look. That doesn't mean you have to convert. You know, the things that run through all religions are just mutually in appreciation of you and you of them. You know, it's... Dogma is separate from true spiritual belief, I think. So don't feel that you have to commit to an organisation just because you can give genuine reverence within a place of worship. Let's say it like that. For some of you, all of this resonates, but we're talking about a mosque as well. You might have family members or something that are wanting you to come to mosque with them, and that's fine, and you should, and I think it will actually be quite fulfilling if you do that. Or to temple, or, you know, whatever it is that's your equivalent for those for whom this is pinging off and being like, oh shit, yeah, she knows about this thing. Yes, I do. Hi. Some of you have got too many files on your, I mean, I'm looking at Kindle, so it might be that, or your phone. or you're having problems with something you're doing for work because there's too much saved data-wise somewhere. So just have a clear out and then try again. Right? Let me know down below if that hits, because I always love giving these little helpful reminders that come from, whatever it is that all of this comes from. I'm not going to speak about that right now. And people go, oh, that was me. And I did. I defragged my hard drive, or I cleared out a load of old video files, and lo and behold, it all works again. It's great to know when that happens. I'm seeing a white circle. I'm drawing a white circle with my hand. This may be for you energy workers as well. You've been drawing white circles somewhere? Or portals even, or some of you are choosing a ring and you're going with platinum or white. And that's a really cool thing. I can't stop my finger doing this. I keep thinking of the carousel as well in La Ronde. Again, butchering pronunciations. I'm so sorry to my French viewers. So some of you may be either watching that or thinking about it, or it turns up this week. Watch it. It's brilliant. It's so funny. Dated, obviously, but very good. And I wish I could remember the song he sings, because I almost want to sing it at you. I feel like that's part of your message. If I can find a video of it, I'll link it down below with the lyrics. Now my other hand's doing the circles. I didn't even notice that my finger was moving by itself. Stop it. Something about fish. Piscean clan, what up? Also anyone who's having it for tea, or I don't know, something about fish. Last confirmation. That's it. We're done. I'm not going to take too long on this thing because I feel I've rambled already for part 2. Anywho, let's get you some cards, shall we? This one wanted to come out. Are you up here or down there? I'm not going to take those because it was only that one. Well, this one wants to be here. Okay. For a second there, I forgot how to count to 5. You really do need a rest, guys. I'm picking up on your franticness. That's interesting. I put a reversal down and I didn't register it as a reversal. So all you people fearing reversals that I mentioned, this goes out to you. And another one, but I'm going to read that in the upright, because I've already had that message about reversals. Right, your reading is on the subject, beginning with the letter C, of... Ooh, cheat. Right. Give me a minute. I'll be back before you know it. You won't feel the cut. You have the word cheat. Even before I begin, some of you will already know what this is about. And I want to just take the top one of these as a clarifier, just to be ultra sure that I'm giving the right message before I give it, because it's the kind of thing I don't like to give. Yeah, alright. For many of you, this is about a little cheat, in a romantic sense. It won't be all of you, and I will give a narrative for those of you for whom that doesn't apply. But overwhelmingly in this, although it's not very many cups cards for love, I do get a story that tells me this is about somebody who's been unable to control their own impulses. And I don't believe that that's you. I believe that this may be somebody that you're dealing with, and that this is either something you already know and feel, because your energy is quite stable actually, or it's something that I'm, breaking the news to you with, but you are going to kind of imminently be discussing directly with this person, or, there's going to be some kind of understanding that we come to here. So the first thing I should say is that the overarching, the rulership, if you like, of this reading is the Nine of Pentacles, which tends to be about figures who are very capable of being by themselves in a really positive way. I feel that's about you. I actually think that if this is a scenario where you're being cheated on, the overall purpose of you seeing this today and hearing from me is going to be the reassurance that you are better by yourself than you would be dealing with shenanigans. It's the nice word for it, right? And you probably don't want nice words for it if this is your reading. In the recent past, you've been dealing with a person who finds it extremely difficult to control their wilder side. They may have had a very open attitude towards their sexuality in a fashion that you either didn't agree with or that didn't fit your lifestyle in quite the same way. They may have indeed been openly polyamorous, but there may have been underlying causation to that wasn't entirely ethical, shall we say. They may have claimed to be ENM, but the E in that may have quote marks around it, if you feel me. Because obviously it can be done ethically, but that doesn't always apply to everybody who's saying they're doing it, right? And it depends on individual couples and individual situationships even, as to what your rules are, what you believe cheating even constitute, what constitutes cheating. I'm getting a communication nod here because I'm fumbling over my words. So for some of you, your definition of cheating may be that this person is speaking to people, or person, specifically one, in a fashion which is too intimate for your liking, and you may be of the belief that they can do what they like sexually, and that's all well and good, but that certain levels of emotional connection with another person are what constitutes cheating for you. The flip side of that may be that you are sexually private with somebody who can have as many close emotional friends and even exes and things like that lingering around that they speak to on the regular, and you have no problem with that because you can trust them as long as you can trust them sexually. But whatever it is, wherever you stand on that, and please you do you, and you have as many partners and beliefs about partnership as you see fit, right from the spectrum of monogamous to emotionally and physically polyamorous. Like, this channel is for everyone, honestly. But there's some indication in this that whoever I'm reading for, your definition of cheating, whatever that may be, has been breached by this person's inability to control themselves on a sort of deeper level. This strength card is about the taming of the wild self. I'm going to stand so that I can see that you can see it. And when it's reversed, that sort of more impulsive self, that self that is a bit more animalistic, that is a bit more in the moment, that doesn't always think before they act or speak, is unable to be controlled by the person's, would it be superego, or their sort of general conscious self, shall we say. Their controlling force is unable to control the inner child or the inner self who is habituated to a certain kind of thinking. Now, this does actually require a little bit of compassion for you in this reading, particularly because we've got this card over here clarifying. I get the feeling that if this person has fucked up, and it does seem that way, it's not for lack of respect towards you, and it's not for lack of a sincere attempt to keep to the rules that have been laid out, or indeed just the beliefs that you have about these things. They want to honour and respect you, but my feeling is that they, for whatever reason, need the validation or the clarification of whatever experience this was in order to keep going because of something that predates your relationship. So unless I'm speaking to somebody where you've known this person from very early childhood, we could very well be talking about an attachment issue that's led to something like a cheating pattern or a sex addiction, or at least a pattern of temptation where other people are concerned because this person might panic when they're in what they consider to be a commitment that's over their head, or that they feel unworthy of, or something that mirrors, parental dynamics, any of the above, right? You know better than I do what their specific issues are, because we're only in the scope of 5 to 6 cards here. But the point is that when these are coming up together, this is a person trying their best to do the quote-unquote right thing, failing, but failing specifically because of something that is unhealed within them. Now, you can make the argument that every cheater is unhealed. I'm not a massive fan of it, although I know that there is spiritual truth to that. I think it's something that a Buddha or a Jesus would say, certainly, and it's probably accurate. However, you have to decide for yourself, quite frankly, the amount of shit you will take from somebody because they haven't faced those issues. And if this is the first time and possibly the last time it will ever happen, that's one thing. But if this person is a cheat, and notice it's not cheating or cheater or anything, it's just cheat, right? Then you have to decide where your own standards lie and whether your attachment to this person justifies the erosion of those standards in general, and the erosion possibly of your reputation as a result, right? Because if one person fucks with your boundaries and you let it happen, unfortunately, other people who would fuck with your boundaries see that you are a person who allows their boundaries to be fucked with. For more on that, consult the Queen of Swords. Regardless, they fucked up, right? I suspect they fucked up with a Queen of Wands figure, any gender, and this also is any gender, right? But Queen of Wands is representative of somebody who, for them, was... I don't want to say manic pixie dream girl, because it's not exactly that. It's a bit more sexy and baddie than that. It's a bit more sort of fruity. But it's that energy of like, I am creative enough, I am happy enough in myself, I am, attractive in your preferred physical way enough that I can fill a bit of a void for you. I can bring you up out of whatever state you're in. And this person was under the impression, even if just for a moment, that a particular person's presence in their life would kind of solve their shit, or make them feel vicariously like they were a more creative person because of this person's creativity, or make them feel a little bit sexier and more wanted because this sexy person expressed want. Something like that. There's a sort of, even if all that happened was a flirtation, conversation, which for some of you is true, there's a sense that this person was the exact right person to give this person the validation they needed because of the way they are perceived by this person. That perception may not be accurate, by the way. The Queen of Wands in a scenario like this can often be seen as like some fucking sex god, or some creative paragon, or some manic pixie figure, and actually it turns out that they're not all that in that way, or they can't provide what the person's thinking of, or actually they have their own issues and agendas and responsibilities, and they didn't really want to be fucking around with this. They just needed validation themselves. I think instantly of the scene in Eternal Sunshine where Clementine is trying to tell Joel that she's her own person with her own stuff, and she's not here to raise him up out of his Joelness and fill a void for him. And that's sort of where their problems begin, right? Because of the way that he's framed. Now, again, this isn't a gendered reading, but that's quite a useful scene to bear in mind if you're familiar with it, because everybody does have their own stuff going on. And in fact, in this reading, I hate to say it, but this Queen of Wands figure over here is kind of the silent party. It's the person that we know the least about in this triplicate dynamic. So I can't speak to whether it is that they are interested. I can't speak to whether it is that they are everything this person momentarily perceived them to be. But what I can say is that they provided enough energy in a moment that this person was already feeling kind of weak about some stuff, that there were barriers broken, right? And that, for some of you, that's the end of a marriage. For some of you, you were in a situationship and they're just chatting to someone on Instagram. You know, the spectrum of what this could be is very broad because my audience is quite broad. Now, what does that mean for the present? Well, the wheel is turning. I see this as you. I see this as your person that we're on about. So they're kind of being crushed by the fact that time marches on, people discover things, things are made more clear. The wheel is like crushing them under it in this way that is true to the folklore of the wheel and the sort of sacrifice made, right? So if you're familiar with that or you want to look it up, that might be a useful thing if this is a really key partnership. But what I notice is that you're kind of watching and you have a part in turning this wheel and going, so did you then? And they are crushed by the fact that they have to say, well, yeah, I kind of did. But there's almost a dispassionate element to your position in this. There's almost like a, right, I get it, cool, whatever. You know, it's like this passive-aggressive, I'm not going to respond too dramatically to this because it's almost like too hurtful to involve myself in the reality of it. I want to be very careful when I give readings like this, ethically speaking, to say that I don't know the outcome of where all of this is going to go. I'm just telling you from my end what it could be. And it, like I say, it could be at the much softer end of whatever it is in terms of what this person's done. It could be as simple as adding an X on Facebook and you wouldn't be cool with that. But then also for some of you it can go to the obvious thing that we think of when we think cheat. But again, this dispassionate expression on your behalf is a nod back to this, which is this kind of defensiveness. It's kind of imprisoning yourself in your own intellectual observation of the situation. And it's interesting that you and this person that you're dealing with are both in that mode in a way. They're imprisoned by the fact that they won't acknowledge this side of themselves that they can't tame and or where it originally came from before it became this behavioural thing. And you're kind of imprisoning yourself because you almost don't want to show to this person that you give a shit at all. It's like once they've fucked up badly enough because of your own history, you don't want to show them that they've fucked up because that would be giving them your power. And you are at the top of this wheel. You're the most powerful figure in this situation. And I do feel that this and this are connected and that they will kind of meekly come back with an apology or an offer, right? That's the spoilers for the next card. But the thing is that in really truly contemplating whether that offer is something that's going to be of benefit to you, whether it's a relationship that you can work on, you first need to step out of this guarded energy. Because honestly, you can't feel the impact of this until you allow yourself to emote about it, until you take off the dissociative mask and you stop doing the distracting stuff and you stop chucking yourself into work and into other connections and you actually go, fuck, this has really hurt me. And we need to talk about it. And we need to talk about why. Because you also have a history. You also have stuff that's influenced whether or not you trust people, to what extent certain behaviours break that trust, etc. So I actually think in its most positive sense, this card is also here to suggest that there is a conversation about both of your pasts, about why it is that you think this is the utmost fuckery and what you feel exactly about it, and about why it is that this person was tempted in some way in the first place to do something that was a bit fucked. Now, like I say, I do think they'll come your way with an offer. I don't even suspect they'll be able to look you in the eye when they do. And I think that it's almost like they were going to give you more, they were going to give you bigger, they were maybe even going to try and juggle you with other areas of their life, possibly another person. But that plan has fallen to the ground, and here they have this that they're going to send to you. It's almost like they've changed from being a 2 of coins to being an ace of coins or a page of coins, right? They're handing it back, but it's in a different version to what it could have been. Because on some level, they do understand that the trust has been broken here, even if it's something that in the eyes of another partner or group of people or whatever would not be a breach of trust. They get the impact that it's had on you. And hopefully that's partly because you're able to express that in words. and they're able to express back to you, yeah, I don't know why I do this, to which you, please say, well, that needs examining then, and you need to know why you do it. Excuse me, hiccups again. I don't think it's enough with a person with this kind of history and with possible attachment issues and stuff to just come to them and say, what you did was fucked up, those aren't my standards, see ya. Or indeed to come to them and say, what you did was fucked up, but let's work on it. I think a communication needs to be had, whether or not you intend to involve them further in your life, where you say, this is a thing that you're not looking at. This is coming from somewhere. It wasn't just a like one-off chance thing, or I mean, it might have been a one-off behaviour, but it wasn't from a one-off need or a one-off thought, if you see what I mean. It wasn't from something that doesn't have its roots very deeply in this person's world. And it may be that you've moved in and out of their life in order to be the person who expresses that to them and says, look, why is it that you do this? Why do you keep fucking about? You know? Or why do you have these conversations with people that you know will bring up a temptation, or you know will piss me off even though you get validation from it? Why is it that you feel you need to just push that a little bit further? And it may be that you do want to help this person, it may be that you don't and you're just sick of their shit. And I've been in both of those situations, actually with the same person, right? I've been in both dynamics, the fuck off forever and the please let me help you because this is very clearly a childhood issue, right? But I think whatever it is that you choose, there definitely needs to be some expression, preferably before this person comes back in with the tail between the legs, where you say, look, I think there's something more to this and to why you did it. Can you talk about that? Or can you think about that? They may not want to talk about it. They may not give a fuck. Their answer might be quite abrupt. They might be like, it was good pussy, or it was good dick, or whatever. You know, they may be so defensive that they're actually quite cruel in response. But I do feel that somebody who's courting spirituality and who's on a spiritual channel and has come here to see this, you have some kind of higher responsibility, if you like, to at least be the person to bring up to this other individual that there is something deeper going on with this, that there is a reason that they messed up beyond, oh, I had a lapse in morality, or oh, I forgot, or oh, I'm just a bad dude, I'm sorry. Dude, again, being genderless, right? And I know that that's a lot to put on you. It's a lot to say to somebody, can you carry this responsibility? And I'm not saying you have to sort them out. That's not at all where I'm going with this. Because sometimes if someone's betrayed you badly enough, it is better to cut them out of your life, no matter what they meant to you. Because then it shows that you are not going to betray yourself, you know? You're proving to yourself that you will not cheat on you. And that is also another meaning of the word cheat, right? You're not going to cheat on yourself for this. But also, I don't think this person is going to hear it from any other place. And I think until they hear it, they can't heal it. And it might really spiral for them. You know how in the beginning we were talking about this horn and how the shadow is going blah, 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 and unravelling all over the place. And I said that that might be how you're feeling, but for this pile, I get it, it might be how they are as well. It might be that they kind of can't stop this cycle of talking to people in this way, or fucking around, or whatever it is. And that they need something, just even a subtle hint to come in and say, yeah, there's a pattern to that, and I can probably sort it out. Because I do feel they can long term. Whether or not they sort it out with you is your prerogative. And I don't want anybody to stay in any situations that are abusive or negligent or anything like that just because I've said that thing. But what I mean is that humans are redeemable figures, right? This person can work on it. And I think that what starts them working on it actually is you. Because they do feel for you. There isn't a negation of your status in their life from the fact that they've done this. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's almost as if you've become a higher figure for the fact that they feel so low about whatever it is. For those of you who have listened through all of that and are saying, well, I'm not in a relationship or a situationship, so I don't know what that is about me. Firstly, thank you for listening to all of that and staying. Secondly, this single card over here may be extra for you. And I see that all of the stuff that I've sort of talked about in terms of personal integrity and standing by yourself can apply, but this is perhaps in a dynamic where it's somebody in your family or somebody you work with, and they've done something that they know would fuck you off, right? And it's it being in a collaboration with somebody else. This is still talking about people doing shady shit, right? It's just maybe not talking about sex or sexuality if you're not, you know, if you're asexual or if you're not in a relationship at the moment or anything like that. So do listen back and kind of take what I've said, but apply it to that thing of a betrayal within a different dynamic, yeah? But there is certainly cheating going on here, I'm sorry to say. And I think actually this is a moment in whatever case it is for you, pile 2, to see yourself as elevated as this person sees you. You know, we hear this bullshit excuse again and again from certain parts of the dating community or whatever, where it's like somebody is so up there and pedestals for them, and a level 10 for people who rank in numbers in that silly way, that it's almost like they cheat on them because they don't feel worthy of them. And there is a bit of that coming through. There's a bit of like, you're too good for me, so I'm just going to do what I do. And again, I'm not saying that justifies anything that they've done. I think it's a very sorry state to be in, to view yourself like that. But the significance of it here is that they do put you on a pedestal in some way, whether or not they will ever express it in words. And I think that it's time for you, as a result of this whole dynamic, to also put yourself on that pedestal and to realise that in some senses, at least in the extent of your conduct, yes, you are a little bit above this person, and you are indeed above the person they've been dealing with, whose position in the reading is further down, maybe even secret, maybe even unconscious, yeah? That's not to rank humans, that's not to say that we're in a hierarchy and you are a better person. It's to say that you have expressed yourself in a way which is more dignified, and it is time for you to recognise the inherent strength that you have, because you are this card in the upright where you do tame your demons, and the inherent strength in the fact that you have taken the higher ground in this, that you have not yet, I don't think, acted in a dodgy way towards any of these people, right? And that you probably won't. I don't feel you're an angry person. I don't feel you're vengeful. You may get a slight kick of, oh, well, you're in it now. You know, you've made your bed with this wheel turning. But I don't think that you're turning the wheel yourself in a malicious way. You're not going to wreck their car. You're not going to throw out their things, right? This isn't the kind of cheating dynamic we're on about. I think that instead, the worst that they can imagine is that you will move on to your single and thriving life with a certain degree of elevation, which blocks your emotional self from communicating directly with them further. And whilst I say that that's a very dignified thing and it's not a bad thing at all, just make sure that you admit to yourself how you feel about this, because it's important for your healing and growth that it's even happened. If you'd like a more personal and specific reading with me on this topic, I do something called Mirrored Souls, which is designed for kind of crucial relationships of any inclination, not necessarily romantic, also for twin flame dynamics, for anything where the person's reflection is the person's behaviour is kind of bouncing off your own, and you're reflecting aspects of each other, and you want to see a little bit more about that. And the enhanced version of that reading, the extended, does come with love messages and things like that as well. If that's not for you, but you'd like just a general reading from me or a reading on a different topic, again, Etsy link is down below. There's also a PayPal donation button down below if you want to chuck me 50p or a quid or something for being the person to break this news to you, and I'm sorry that I had to be. But if not, please like the reading if you did enjoy it, or subscribe to the channel if you never want to see the reading again but you do want to hear from me. And feel free to pass on any of these alphabetized readings to friends, or just sort of share my content wherever you think people will benefit from it. It seems like an almost trivial thing to talk about after all of this, but if you did want to contribute any words to any of these further letters, From E onwards, I'm about to film, so if you comment when you're seeing this with a word that isn't a name or a place name, I will absolutely put it in the little jar for you, and it could be one that's picked out as the subject of the next reading. But whatever you do and however you're feeling, I hope that you're able to express yourself. I hope that you're able to express to this person that there is some kind of light in them, which can be, they can return to, they can be brought back to. And whether or not you choose to join them on that journey, I hope you really stick with yourself for yours. Yeah? All right, take care, pal two. Pile 3, we've had something very light, we've had something very heavy. Let's see whether we can get something in the middle, right? Okay, so for your channeled messages, let's start you off. I'm just going to shuffle to sort of reacquaint myself with this set of cards, because the last couple of readings were both big boys in different ways. So let's just get in. Oh, that one's meant to be at the top, okay. Let's get into the energy of pile 3. Actually, that's going to be at the top of your reading, that top card, I think. Right. I had to kind of shake my head and shake off the prior readings then. And I got this image of, like Looney Tunes, where they've got things circulating their head because they've just bumped it, and they sort of do the addy 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 thing where they shake it off. So you may feel a little bit like that. You may, everybody's very sort of overwhelmed in this reading. They're a bit tired, and it may be that you're sort of, yours is more of a small scale thing, I think, like a bump or a temporary overwhelm or a temporary clumsiness, where you're sort of brushing yourself off going, whew, blimey. So that applies, that's for you. I'm also seeing more on the Looney Tunes thing. I'm seeing like the wolf whistle thing that's in the mask, where his eyes are like popping out into hearts, and he's being very inappropriate towards Cameron Diaz. So that may hit home in some way for some of you. Maybe you've seen somebody that caught your eye. Any gender or preference, we don't discriminate here. Or maybe it's just that is a particular scene that makes you laugh, or that you liked as a kid, or something about Looney Tunes as well. I have to say, one of the nicest compliments I've ever received was about Looney Tunes. I think it was Looney Tunes sound effects playing to do with me, or Looney Tunes images or something like that. So it's maybe something sweet like that, but certainly Looney Tunes is popping up. Maybe you collect stuff like that. If you do, let me know. That's really cool. There's a sense of differentiation, right? There's separation, segmentation, making one thing more different to the other so that they stand out. There's a sense of like complementary colours being used, or complementary perspectives being emphasised as being more different. So you may be in an industry or doing some kind of project where you're enhancing the differences between things and picking them out in a very swordsy discernment of language kind of thing. You may even be in linguistics if you're watching this. But there's something here about the separation of ideas and how they act as counterparts to each other and enhance each other by their difference. For some of you, that's people as well. There's an element of diplomacy where it's like looking at how groups of people are different and how those differences could be reframed as complementary to both parties. Maybe even some of you are like in mediation and stuff like that. But I'm picking this up from the way I'm seeing some colours in my room. And it's very much like one is starkly bringing out the other, but they could not be any more different. And I've never really seen it that way before. So it's like this, it's like a revelation about that dynamic is happening for you or for somebody that you're working for or with. I'm also seeing prayer beads for somebody. Or like bracelets. Actually, I'm not wearing any jewellery today, and that's pretty rare for readings. Some of you I'm seeing like bands and bands of karma bracelets. Or you used to wear bracelets, or you used to wear a certain piece of jewellery and now you don't. And there's almost a thing of like, yeah, put it back on. Or get back into that, or whatever. It's a very, it might seem like a shallow concern, but sometimes symbolically things like that can really shift something else. Yeah, for some of you there's a piece of jewellery from a connection or a relationship or a friendship, and you're like, I don't know whether I want to wear that because of what happened there. But I think it would be good if you did. Yeah, I think it really would. It'd make you feel good in the scheme of things. Schematics. Some of you are designing, building. Some of you are building models to a specification. Hit me up if you're my Warhammer or Gundam people or anything in adjacent worlds, but for some of you it's bigger than that. It's things like manufacture of cars or architectural design, or I don't know. I'm just seeing plans, like schematics being laid out, cross-section of things, or like instructional put together type. For some of you it's as simple as building furniture, but I'm feeling less like that and more like it's something that'll have like a sense of pride with it when you've built it. It's not just assembling something, it's like putting your own stamp on it at the end as well. Hope that makes sense. There is a feeling of it being like a hobbying thing or a creative thing. Anyway, let me know down below what that is, because I'd love to know. It's interesting. Some of you are gamers as well. I see that. I see that it's very nice of you to take time out from your busy gaming schedule to watch this reading, because something's really pulled you in of late. I appreciate it. I'm not saying that with shade, honestly, because I'm the same way with films and seasons of stuff. Like, I get so immersed and then I get a bit grumpy when I go and do something else, but it's good that you've taken a minute out, put it that way. And I think it's a good thing that you're embracing whatever that media is so wholeheartedly as well. Some of you are like games masters, dungeon masters, that kind of thing. Some of you are D&D people. And for one or two of you, you've been playing Atmosphere, which is absolutely rad. I love that game. Yeah, there's a strong games or board games vibe. Because I'm hearing the... For some of you, all this anxiousness and stuff that we mentioned at the start and all this unravelling is because you've been playing a horror game. Because I'm hearing the bit from PT where the radio says, don't tell that dial now, we're just getting started. And you've sufficiently freaked yourself out that you're taking a break and now you're doing tarot. Which, like, props to you for going from something spooky to something else that's largely deemed spooky. But, yeah, maybe it's a good thing you took a minute. I feel like you maybe overdid it a bit on that one and got a bit scared. It's okay, my dude. We've all been there. That's funny. I'm seeing somebody going to the beach with one other person, or some kind of like seaside fun fair type. This is a really jaunty, fun pile. I like you guys. Yeah, there's like a happy memory of like a beachside or seaside type thing. I'm hearing like amusement noises, like arcade noises, but not just in the gamey sense. I mean, like, because I'm smelling candy floss as well, and it's a very like British seaside thing, so this won't resonate for all my friends around the world, but I'm hearing that fucking boom, 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 you know? There's always like a little horse you can ride or a bike or something that makes that fucking noise. And I'm hearing it, but with like, you know, sea noises, or... Sorry, I'm just standing to make sure I'm still recording. There's a bit of anxiety from some of you, as well as that seasidey message. The people who resonate with that may also have something running as you're watching this. Don't know whether you're running a program, don't know whether your game is on pause, don't know whether you're loading or uploading or cooking, or you've got some washing in, or, excuse me, hiccups, there's something else going on while you're watching this that you're like, oh, I should check on it, oh no, and it's bringing you low-level anxiety. Like, by all means check on it, but I think you're alright, yeah? I don't think you need to worry as much as you are worrying. I think you're just in an anxious state, pile 3. Yeah, for some of you that won't apply, but I do feel like if you've got... Or maybe for... Sorry. Maybe for some of you who don't feel anxious, this is a reminder that you started something before you began this reading, and you might need to fucking check on it and maybe feel a little bit more anxious. So for some of you, you did the classic Lucy thing that I always do, where you left a pan on the boil and then came and did this reading. And this is your cue to pause the goddamn reading because it's about to burn. But something to that equivalent. So if you feel anxious and you're constantly checking on something, you don't have to check it. If you don't feel anxious, there might be something running that you were meaning to be doing while you're watching this, and it would be good to do it. I hope that's relatively clear. What else? Some of you are worried about being overheard or watched, or dare I say even like stalked, particularly cyber stalked. I don't think it's as imminent as you think it is, but just make sure if you do magical protections and stuff that you are protecting yourself. If you don't, it's sufficient to take the thing I said about this pink pen at the beginning and do that whole breathing in the light thing, and then to imagine a bubble around yourself that blocks anybody else's stuff from coming in or getting to you. It's sometimes useful to imagine it being mirrored as well, so that if there is any ill intention from anybody around you, or any eavesdroppers or nosy parkers, they have whatever intention they have towards you reflected back at their face. It's kind of like a two-way mirror thing, right? They can't see you, but you can see them, kind of thing. And you can do that just with visualization. For my complete atheists and skeptics, that won't be making you roll your eyes, I see you, but just know that as like psychological thought experiment type exercise, it does help strengthen one's confidence in order to deal with those things in a prompt and non-exaggerated fashion. So still worth doing. I'm not here to validate or invalidate your paradigm. I'm just here to tell you what I do and to pass on any messages I may receive. For some of you who are in my Skeptics Corner, there's a message in the generals for pile 2 about Telegram, or my analogy of Telegram. That's worth listening to for you. Black, what about black? The colour black is popping out to me on loads of things, and I'm not entirely sure why. Is this a song reference for some of you? Yeah. Music by a band with black in the name, or a song with black in the name, or... I'm not even going to go into all of the song titles that have the word black, because there are hundreds. But whatever it is for you, comment down below, let me know. I'm speaking specifically about the colour and not just like supporting black artists and stuff, although obviously grand. Yeah, there is something about the colour black, but it's a sound thing. That's weird. Some of you are doing, you're looking at sound waves, or perhaps you're sound engineers. Hello. This is really, I always feel like my messages are going to be too niche. But you know the Aphex Twin thing, where if you play a certain section of something, the waveform forms the face of the guy, and it's really creepy and great. I'm seeing that. So I'm seeing the black song as a separate thing, but then the blackness turned into that. So there's something here about visualising sound. So this is for my engineers, my artists, my creatives from the last video, the B is for, that kept turning up everywhere. There's something about that Aphex Twin sound visualization thing. Even if it's just like you're synesthetically painting a sound, or you're writing about what something sounds like, or I don't know, there's something there. Let me know. There's something to do with X-Men as well. I'm hearing the animated series theme, and I'm seeing the letter X but in like an object in my room that it's not meant to be an X. So X-Men, but also like come on brain, crossroads stuff, cross conditions, uncrossings, crossing paths in a magical sense, that kind of stuff may hit. If so, you're in the right one. Some of you have got green hair, or you're thinking of having it, or you've got a toy with green hair. That's interesting. And this is your nod. Specifically like a limey kind of really acidy looking colour. It's great. I like it. It's wicked. If you dyed your hair that colour, like, yeah, amazing. I had that in, oh God, I'm showing my age. I had that hair in about 2013, and it was one of my favourite hairs to have, because I've had every colour, every length, including shaving off altogether. And I'm now rocking a bit of natural, but I do love my green haired fam, so that may be you. Let me know if it is. I don't deal in these, but I watch people who do. Some of you are angel number people. I'm seeing some writing in an old painting that I've got on my wall. That makes me sound like I collect antiques. It's really just a bit of a collage. But the writing is not this, but it's looking to me from this distance like 1449. So for my angel number people, your angel number is 1449. Pause the video, look it up, write down below what it is, so that anyone else can benefit, and that's your nod in some way. For those who don't do that kind of stuff, maybe you deal with codes or hex, or hex is interesting with all those X's coming up as well, isn't it? The word hex. But anyway, yeah, 1449 is a thing. Can't get more of a specific message than that, my dudes. I sort of wish there was more general stuff. Have we got anything general, gang? Come on. Oh, God, this is so not general. The leopard skin is too short. That's it. That's your sentence. The leopard skin is too short. Please let me know if that means fucking anything to you. Right, I'm going to switch hands and see if we've got anything slightly more appropriate for a very general audience universe, because this is not, you're not getting at general here. Some of you have a stain or a blockage or paint or egg or something on your windows, or you've watched, maybe you've been watching, what's it called? With Mars' own boy, Ezra Miller, and Tilda in it. I can't think of her surname. She's one of the greatest people alive. Anyway, you know the film I mean, where they throw paint on / egg the house. It's the Lynn Ramsey movie, I believe. But yeah, there's something about a mark on a window. Maybe you need to clean windows. Maybe you've been watching that film or something else where someone's painted or egged or whatever a window. But there's like an obstruction on the glass. Maybe your car windows have got something iffy stuck to them. No judgment. This is just your confirmation. Yeah, and I'm now hearing George Thornby singing when I'm cleaning windows, so that's really specific for somebody. Clean them up. Go for it. It'll make you feel better. Anything else? I'm not staying on the window stuff, gang. Right, so I think it was pile 2, I could be wrong, because it's been a long day, but there was a pile about visual disturbance, and I literally lost my sight as I was channeling, which is fine, it's just, my body does stuff. But this is coming up again about your eyes. And I'm getting my fingers tingling. So for this pile, it's not just about the visual change. It's you might have had something on your hands and then rubbed your eyes, and now there's a problem with your eyes. You could have been cooking, could have been dealing with chemicals. Some of you I'm getting, if you're photographers, like be careful with darkroom chemicals in your hands and your eyes. But yeah, there's something to do with like rubbing your eyes and that making your eyes a bit iffy. In which case, obviously, I recommend an eye bath, but I'm not a doctor. But that's something that, like, somebody will go, oh, yeah, this is my pile, that's weird. Anything else? Spirals and labyrinth walking. Labyrinths keep coming up in my readings. But this is specific to walking ones, so maybe you're in a corn maze somewhere or something like that when you... Well, not when you're watching this, hopefully, because just enjoy the maze, my dude. But there's something about walking a labyrinth or walking a spiral. Spirals can be great to walk in ritual. Just make sure you know whether the spiral should be going widdershins or clockwise for what it is you're doing. Just look that up. And obviously those of you who know which one's solar, which one's lunar, all of that will play into whatever it is, but just spirals are coming up. Maybe there's a spiral pattern on your curtains or your dress or something. Let me know. Are we done? Yeah, that's it. Wicked. Right. Let's pull your cards. This one's already wanting to come out and be up here. I don't know what he is, but we'll see him in a minute. And then, oh, are you next? Yeah. These are quite straightforward. The other piles were picking themselves in really strange ways. But these are just leaping out as is, really. So maybe you're in a straightforward mindset. You want to be up front. Or things are just very straightforward in your life at the moment, which might be really rad and good for you if that's the case. We could all do with a bit of simplification every now and then. As Jim Henson always said, simple is good. Right. So your word is... Oh, this one. Collaboration. Right, I'm going to sit with these for a sec. I'll be right back. Okay, pile 3. This is another quite nice reading, I think. This is another positive one. So collaboration. There are 2 different meanings to this, and I'm saying that because I'm getting an overtly sexual interpretation of this. So if you're looking for a love reading, stay with me. But there's also a lot of pentacles energy and a couple of majors in here, which could indicate that this is very much career and money based. And there is a card which is traditionally associated with money primarily, but also has applications in love. Now ain't that interesting for him to turn up? It may even be appearing in reverse, but I'm not reading reversals for this one, so let's just pop in that way up. I'm not even sure in this VAV whether that is the upright. I'm presuming because this is a shield that it should be that way. Anyway, I'm rambling. Okay, so there's something new going down. There's an Ace of Pentacles in whatever way. So either this is a collaboration in the way of nookie, or this is a collaboration in a kind of financial sense, in a career sense. I'm reading this specifically with one other person, as opposed to working with a team. So if it is team-based, there will be one person in particular who you connect with. I picked this up intuitively, so let's have a look. Right, so if this is someone that you're connecting with in a team, they're very likely femme or female presenting. They're very likely decent with their money. They might be quite overworked, a bit tired. They might be a little bit more experienced than you are, maybe slightly older. They could be ever so slightly matronly in appearance. Don't want to do this card, too much of a disservice, but that's something I'm getting. And indeed, they could be somebody who's had children or plans to have children fairly soon. If this is not in a work context, what I will say with this as a clarifier and with that last message is, be careful if you're in a pairing where children can happen, if you're not somebody who loves people of the same gender. that children don't happen if you're not planning for them, right? Because there's a very real possibility of that. I know it's not the Empress, but I'm seeing pregnancy with this particular figure in this deck. So for those who have come for the sexy time, that's great. Just make sure you don't get more than you bargained for. However, there is also a big energy of a same-sex connection with this as well, just from how I interpret some of these cards with people that I know personally and my own association web, my own network, if you like. Right, let's cover the career stuff, because I know you thirsty bitches can handle it and wait on until we've done that, and then we'll do the more spicy version of this reading. So if this is some kind of creative or business collaboration, the thing to know about your recent past, which may act as confirmation, is that you have had to be very careful with your finances and indeed your ideas about the next financial step. You've kept things to yourself for a long time. You've been the kind of pirate archetype in those terms, where you are burying your treasure in the hope that nobody else will find it. You might have put investments into places where you think that they won't be as easily corrupted. You might have been a person who's recently dipped into things like crypto because you feel it's more protected than fiat currency at the minute. Or you might be somebody who's, got stuff in shares or whatever, but you've kind of recently transferred stuff around. If that is not something that resonates with you at all, let's just say that you've been extra careful with your money and with stashing it away. Be that, in a safe or in a bank or in a, what do they call those cash wallet things? You might have just started dividing up cash so that things aren't as hand to mouth with you. But there's certainly an energy here around must protect, must stash money away. Must save it, even if you're not getting much, and even if you weren't really a saving person beforehand. There's definitely protection around it. Now, that is an energy that I do feel it's a little healthier to come out of as you move into the future, because something we spiritually know about money is that once you give the flow generously, you also receive back in equal terms. Whereas if you kind of stagnate with your money, it's a little bit like emotion, where it just, held emotion that you kept to yourself is going to be less fortuitous for your life than emotion you've given to another and received in return. Think of, with this card, the Magic Penny song, if any of you sang that at school or anything. I will return to this with the sex aspect, but the love is like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many they'll roll all over the floor. For those of you who practice emotional giving in order to receive in return, that will resonate. For those of you who are my law of attraction people and law of assumption people, this may be a good time, as well as putting savings away, to do that thing where you carry around a certain amount of money or a check in your wallet to sort of prove to yourself psychologically that you do have that money with you and that you could always buy the thing if you want it, in order to increase an abundance mindset. That is the thing people do. Please, hiccups. Please search around the internet further for people talking about that thing of carrying money to attract money, carrying checks to attract money. And, for those who are a bit more spicy, that is also applicable with your love life. You kind of can't get any unless you give it a bit, and boy, will you be getting and giving, if I'm right. But anyway, back to so there's this project happening. There's a new start with something. May even be a new job for some, but I do get the feeling that this collaborative energy, this collaboration, is a very direct thing. So there is somebody with whom you haven't necessarily worked on a specific project or in a specific context before, and they are now coming in. Part of their purpose in coming into your life and doing this with you is to get you out of that closed off energy and into lend it, spend it, and you have so many they're all over the floor. Because when you receive more from this collaborative effort, you will be able to give more, and then you'll get more in return, and it'll just be like proper financial flow, right? I wouldn't do a collaboration in terms of what you are saving, if that makes sense. So if someone's like, do you want to put this much into something together? Do you want to invest in this? I don't get the feeling that that's necessarily a positive move. This seems like more of a collaboration in the sense of putting your heads together to make something which mutually makes you money, not putting monetary assets or or other financial assets into something together and getting money out of it. I feel that the latter may lead to some kind of dispute. That's not in the cards, that's just another message that I'm getting. So if this person asks you to invest with them in something, I'm not sure that's such a grand idea from the money side of things. But what you might want to do is collaborate with them anyway and say, hey, let's split the cost 50-50. And I think they'd be happy to do that. They seem pretty easygoing. Sorry, just moving around a little bit. So in the present, you're feeling good about this idea. You're feeling that it is genuinely a new start. You've got new stuff coming in. I think you might have been feeling a little bit emotionally unstable around money up until very recently. This sun on this particular card looks a little bit like the moon, and that always gives me a sense of unease in terms of the tarot, although I am lunar ruled, so I should love it. But there's been this kind of wildness and this like a bit obsessiveness about money, and that might be why you've been stashing it away. But I get the sense that that kind of lunar energy is transforming into like solar. Possibly some of you are dealing in like nakshatras and stuff like that, and you understand the lunar shadow and the lunar light relationship and all that kind of stuff that may play in. But whatever it is, like, you're seeing that this can really grow with this tree here. You're seeing that this can branch off into different things in the future, that it's a healthy collaboration, that you have equal parts in it. Note the two colours are kind of the same size. And you're feeling like it's creatively spurring you on as well with this almost like wands bit here. It's like encouraging you to put yourself out there into the world a little more, that this person boosts your energy, and likewise. If it was this pile, yeah, it was, where I was talking about the complementary colour type thing, or two aspects of something complementing another, that may be, you know, pertinent to this in particular, where you're holding a very sort of opposing perspective to the person you're in a team with, and that means that your ideas are going to be enriched by both of those perspectives. Because remember, opposites also attract, right? It's a good thing sometimes to work with someone who's from a completely different background or paradigm or whatever, and take the best of them and the best of you to make something that is genuinely new and genuinely ingenious is the word I'm getting. And that's echoed with this as well. If there's ever a card of ingeniousness and genius in its purest form, it's the Ace of Wands. So this is a creative idea being offered either to you or back out to the world, and it is going to lead to some financial success as well. Now the last one, this guy's an astrologer. I love this card, I love this interpretation. To some of you on my astrology gang, I already said about nakshatras and stuff, so it may even be Vedic astrology, but for those of you who think that's all bollocks and that doesn't apply or whatever, this is the star card. This talks about fame, about visibility, about being seen. I'm hearing the song Two Heads Are Better Than One from the Bill and Ted soundtrack, so it really is a case of like, whatever this offer was that's kind of taken you out of your financial struggle zone, it is going to be something also that helps you to raise your reputation, to raise your name, and vice versa as well. Because I do get the sense that if two people this different are collaborating on something successfully, there is almost a sense that one person's very different audience and another person's very different audience, or employer or family or whatever it is, you know, the people around you in each case are going to kind of see that you're drawing in stuff from the other, you know. It's going to like blend communities in a way, or at least blend like the sorts of what's the word, like prospective buyers or demographic, that's the word. It's going to broaden the demographic for both of you, right? Because you are so different that it's almost like as a team you can appeal to all kinds of things. So there is this sense of fame. There's a sense of right timing with the fact that he is an astrologer and with the apparatus that he's carrying there. So, you know, make sure that whatever you launch, you're launching it at a time which is, what's the word? Mutually beneficial and auspicious. For some of you who are picking up the astrology stuff, this is a great project. It's going to bring success within astrology to both of you, but do elect for the time at which to do it, right? And if you are into electional astrology and stuff, please comment down below. I'd love more friends who are up for that kind of thing. But, you know, either way, this is rad. This is going to be a really good new fresh start. It may not even be that long term of a project, but I'm seeing that the creative impact and the impact on your sense of financial well-being and confidence in your own ability to financially support yourself is going to be almost like a larger sum than the sum of its parts in terms of what the collaboration entails, right? Okay, so that's those of you who, yeah, I see you waiting, you saucy motherfuckers. So for those of you who are expecting love or indeed a sex reading, yes, there is a collaboration coming. It's not the only thing that will be. Like I say, big energy of the same-sex connection, but it doesn't have to be. If it's not, do be careful of pregnancy. But there is an offer being made. You heard the thing previously that I said about the magic penny. I do feel like whether this is just a purely sexual connection or not, there is a sense of giving emotionally in order to receive emotionally. This is a reading in general where we're very much talking about that law of attraction inspired give to get kind of a mindset, where the more generous you are with somebody, with compliments, with emotions, with sexual attention, anything like that, the more you're going to get in return. And by God, is the emphasis on sexual attention with this Ace of Wands over here. Some of you are going to get some real dick, right? And I mean real. I don't mean this bog standard spam dick that screenshots itself to everybody and is pencil thin. I mean some real dick, right? That's as far as I'm going to go with that. I hope I don't get demonetized or banned. Anyway, yes, there is something coming in. They very much want to be with you. And I feel that it's a happy connection on both sides. Again, with this collaboration, and you're kind of coming to it with equal energy. That's just as applicable in this interpretation as it was in the business one. And I do feel for at least one of you, you're very horny about this. See where this sort of wand-like thing is coming from. And the fact that it's... I don't want to be too gross, but it's white-tipped and it's pointing at another figure in the card, right? So whether or not you're like a woman loving another woman, in which case, great stuff, hi, bye, pleased to meet you. It is this sense of like one of you has got it bad and you're both going to have equal amounts to give to this, and it's going to be a ride. With the fact we've got solar energy and we've got the astrological thing that I said about timing, yes, there is a right timing element to this. Don't make the first move at the wrong time, my dude. You don't want to be fucking out in public and have somebody spot you, or, having an arrangement with this person in the wrong place or time and having, interruptions in that sense. I don't feel that you will. I'm just giving a caution of like, make sure the moment that you choose for this is the right moment. But there's also, with this echo of time stuff, a sense that the duration of this collaboration is going to be quite extensive. I'm seeing that this building is like stacked, and so is the throne that he's sat on, right? So it's like session on session on session on session. And there's also a sneaky cups here. I don't know whether you can see that symbol very well. Let me stand. Oh, excuse me with my mic. Yeah, sneaky cups, right? So there is an emotional thing to this. I feel like it might be even a little bit hidden. This strikes me as like an early days kind of a thing. Or at least something that's new for the two of you to do in this particular way. Let me know in ways that don't get me banned. Euphemisms are welcome on this channel and its comment sections. I love to know what you guys are up to, you saucy buggers. Yeah, there is a sense of like there's an emotionality, but it's as yet concealed. It's kind of up somebody's sleeve. It's not really out there yet. But the thing that is broadly coming across is it's a very abundant connection. With these pentacles, if you interpret them as not literally, business and things like that, we're talking about the flow of stuff. We're talking about positive things coming in for you. And the sun is like the absolute be-all and end-all of that kind of energy. It's such a happy card in any deck, right? Even when it's reversed, it's still happiness. It's just slightly delayed. So for you to have all this sun, this fire, this literal or figurative dick, this stacks and stacks of things, enjoyment upon enjoyment, gold upon gold, you know, all this luxury, all this like bouginess almost with the length of the session and the elaboration of it and how perfect the collaboration energy is and all of this. It's going to be rad. It's going to be real good. I can't tell you whether it's going to happen again. I mean, from this instrument here, it's sort of pointing off into even further future. So there is at least one of you that would be open to it happening again, definitely. But we'll see, you know. I'm feeling like I need to pull a card because you guys are not gonna, you're not gonna let it lie if I don't tell you, are you? Oh wow, Fool energy, okay. Yeah, I do feel this is brand new for a lot of you, but the Fool it's a leap into a new beginning, but it's also the beginning of the tarot proper. For a very small number of you, this will be a final fuck with somebody, because the Fool can also be placed at the end of the major arcana. But generally speaking, he happens at the beginning, and then he kind of moves forward through the entire thing. So this is like the first time with the person for some of you. There's a Two of Swords here, that's interesting. So maybe it's like a decision as to whether you do carry it on, for one of you at least. But for the other one, it's definitely like Fool energy. Let's see, is it going to be long term? Hey gang, sorry about that. I had a bit of an interruption. Yes, is what I'm saying. I do think it's going to be a positive thing that carries on into the future. I think at least one of you will express hope for it. Maybe even the same person who's sort of got their low-key feelings happening and maybe says some more emotional stuff than the other one. But I do see it as a positive new start. And even if it is like a last fuck and you don't carry it on, and that's only for like maybe one person watching this, I think that the time period after it, the sort of movement into the future for both of you is going to be extremely positive. So enjoy it. Happy fucking. Let me know. But, you know, in euphemisms, because, like, the internet, it gets pretty wild and I don't want to be banned from anywhere. And for those of you for whom this is a workplace thing, thank you for sticking through that last bit if you have. It may be that both apply, who knows? A collaboration of your sexual and your workplace energies, perhaps. Right, if you would like a more specific reading from me, a private reading, something a little bit longer, something more tailored to you and your questions and your concerns, there is an Etsy shop link down below where you can book with me. There's also a PayPal link where you can leave me a donation if you really enjoyed this one, or if you just want to chuck me 50p, a quid, fiver, whatever, to say, hey, I see you, thank you. If not, please do like if you liked it, subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. Pass it on to any of your friends who you feel would benefit from this alphabetized journey through the tarot that we're having at the moment. And if you want to add to any of the envelopes in terms of like words that could be randomly picked out in subsequent sessions, from E onwards is still available, so please add words as you see fit. Providing that they are not names or place names, you can absolutely comment down below with whatever word under whatever letter, and I will add it to the tin, at which point you will see me heart your comment to show that it is in the bag for next time. Whether or not it gets picked out, we'll have to see, but I'd like them to be absolutely brimming with words, to be quite honest, and I'd like to have less influence on what those words are, just so that we get more of an unpredictable reading thing, because I really love doing completely random stuff where I don't know what's going to come up, you know. I never know with these what subject we're going to be reading on, and it's great. It's fun. So anyway, enjoy yourselves, whether it's business or pleasure. You have a good time, yeah? No, I'll see you around the bend.